Yes.
Why can't pigeons swim?
Pigeons swim. Ah, well, they're not interested, George. They're just not interested. It's not something that they like doing. They've tried, I think, but not remotely interested.
Why not? Ducks can.
Yes, well, ducks have got webbed feet.
I've got. I can swim and I haven't got webbed feet.
Yes, well, you try. Pigeons don't. They don't make the effort.
What about horses? Apparently, horses can swim and they've got hooves.
Yep. Well, again, it's not something a horse would choose to do, but thrown in the deep end, as it were, they'll swim. You're absolutely right.
Are you a pigeonist?
What's a pigeonist?
Somebody doesn't like pigeons because every time I talk about pigeons, you always say nasty things about them.
No, I've got nothing against pigeons whatsoever. I mean, they are scavengers. I don't like them around. They're kind of rats with wings. But apart from that, I have no objection to pigeons whatsoever. I think pigeons are fine, George, in their place, which is just sort of in the park, really, and around Trafalgar Square, and that's about it.
But, Dad, why can't they swim? I'm sure there are some pigeons that would really like to swim.
Because I think possibly most of them are too fat and they'd sink.
Sink?
Yes,
What about the thin ones? I've seen thin ones in the park.
well, I think the thin ones look at the fat ones and think, one day I'll be like that, so what's the point in even trying to swim? I'm sure there are some that have taken the plunge and then discovered, actually, swimming's not for me, I'll leave that to the ducks.
But what's the reason?
You keep asking me. They're not interested, George. What would they want to swim for? Where are they going to swim to?
I think sometimes when they're by a river or they're by a lake or by the sea, they might just want to go in just for a little swim, a little paddle. But they don't. They never do.
I know, George. You're absolutely right. They never do.
And what's the reason for that?
As I say, George, I just think,
Dad, you don't know, do you? Admit you don't know, Dad.
I'm just speculating that it's just something that pigeons just really don't want to do.
I mean, that's in your mind, but really, you don't know, do you, Dad?
No, George, you're absolutely right. I do not know why on earth pigeons don't want to swim.
I thought so.
Right, George,
Yeah?
I've made a decision. It's time I went. It's time I left. I can't stick around any longer. So I'm going to leave.
Dad? Don't go. We love you. We'll miss you, Dad. Don't leave us. What will we do without you? Who will pay my pocket money? Who will take me to the park? Who? What will I do? What will Mum do? She'll have no one to disagree with. Don't leave. Who will I tell things to? Mum, I know, but you listen. Don't go, Dad. Don't go. Please don't go.
George, will you get off my trouser leg? Stop. Look, I cannot drag you down the corridor. All I'm doing is going to the shops.
Oh. Oh, well, when you're there, can you get me a Twix? Please?
Yes, fine. I shan't be long. Bye.
Oh, I love this park in the summer, don't you, Dad?
Yes, it's smashing, isn't it?
All these colours. Look at all these flowers.
Lovely, aren't they?
What are those?
Well, they're your common old garden daisy. Yeah, look at them. They're everywhere.
What's that?
Well, that's your hedge, George. Yeah, it's just a normal hedge. Privet hedge.
Privet hedge? You even know the name, Dad.
Yes, well, I've always been interested in plants and flowers and...
What's this?
Well, that's a geranium. I think there, George.
I thought geraniums were red.
Well, I mean, sometimes they do have a blue version, and just doesn't come up very often. It's quite a rare one, that actually. It's probably only found in this park. Yes, the old geranium.
And what's this?
That is a clematis, or a clematis. I believe it might be a Montana.
You're so clever, Dad.
Oh, thanks, George. Well, I do try, and keep on top of things, do you know what I mean?
And what's that?
That's a poppy, I believe, George.
Aren't poppies supposed to be red, Dad?
Well, there are some yellow poppies. They sprout up every now and then. It's possibly the colour that is presented to the public at this time of year, if you like. Perhaps they've propagated that particular brand because of it being summer and stuff in England. Who knows?
And this one?
Well, that's that's an unusual flower. That's the flamingo special.
Oh, it's really nice. I'd like a flamingo special in our garden, Dad.
Well, I'll see what I can do. Yes, that's a good idea, George.
And what's this one here? I really like this one, Dad.
Well, that's a hibiscus populis, they call that. Yes, the old hibiscus populis. Very unusual, that one, George. Very unusual.
You're so clever, Dad, knowing all the names. Do you know all the other names for them?
Oh, you mean the Latin names, George?
Yes.
Well, I do know some. Of course, with the hibiscus populis, that's called the hibiscus popilatus in Latin, I believe that is.
And the daisy?
Oh, the daisy. The daisy is the Daisius phalappolopoulos.
Really?
Yes, it's quite well known that you should remember that quite easily. That phalappolopoulos. Yes, the daisy. Yes.
And what was this one? The poppy? What's the Latin name for the poppy?
The Latin name for the poppy is pop hoccolocatus. Don't ask me to spell it, George. Good Lord. Anyway, let's should we go and see if the ducks are around?
Dad, I wish I was as clever as you.
Well, you never know. I mean, if you work hard at school, George, you'll be as clever as your old dad.
I never knew you knew all about plants the way you do.
No, George, it came as a bit of a surprise to me too. Come on.
You don't know, do you?
Me and My Dad is an open fridge production produced by Alex Castle and Mungo Pierce. Music is by Michael Ball. All sketches written and performed by Thomas Kett.